Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 76 of Run to the Hills. I apologise in advance about my blue lips if you're watching this. I've just been out doing my hill reps, and I didn't think it was as cold as it was. And it was, and of course, I'm now a little bit blue. If I get hypothermic, we'll just ignore it.
But you got to go to YouTube because you got blue top, blue buff, and blue lips.
Slightly Reynard fingers. But I've got a cup of tea. I've got a snack. I'm all good. How are you? What's news? I feel like I've already, Gary and I have been a binge recording.
It's our third time this week, twice yesterday.
It's only Tuesday. Oh, come on, tell me then. What have you been doing? Interest.
Well, surprise, surprise. More 200s and 400s. And I did a big session, actually. After we talked to Andy Dobinson, I was on about the 6 times 1 mile.
Yeah.
So I did that too. I have to say, I'd give both sessions a 7 out of 10. They weren't, I just wasn't feeling it. I ended up doing them on my own. It's funny because the effort, the pace wasn't too bad, but the effort wasn't there. I don't know. I just felt, I think I talked to you about my iron levels. I think maybe I need a blood test. I just felt a bit flat, but I did a medium long run and a long run too. I think I touched about 19 miles and I did all my strength and conditioning. So although I'm saying like 7 out of 10, I think on reflection, it wasn't too bad. And, you know, I'm not training for a fast road marathon. So I think if your 200s and 400s aren't as quick as what you'd hoped, you could probably, that's not too bad. And then 6 times a mile with a minute recovery, that's a good session. That is straight into Morrison's calf. And I've polished up a breakfast. I've upgraded from Greg's. Don't use them anymore.
I know. Oh, when my granny was alive and I used to take her on a Wednesday to do her Morrison shop. And then afterwards she used to insist on taking me for a cup of tea and a tea cake in their cafe. And it's like a Morrison's. Isn't it nice? They do really nice food.
Yeah, like a little market street as you go in.
That's it.
But then I didn't get on the bike at all, so I was a bit down on myself about that. I think I need to be a bit more mindful when I plan the week. But other than that, I think, like I said, I felt a bit down about the workout, 7 out of 10. But on reflection, maybe I got an 8 out of 10 for the week.
I'd move it up, and I think it's hard as well. One, if you're training by yourself, we're in the midst of winter, in the bleak midwinter. The races are quite a long way away. Maintaining motivation and that extra push, I don't think you need it. I think you turn up, you do the session, and you tick it off, and it's another one done, and you just keep. Well,
the events I was training for with this Triple Bill, Trail Outlaws, Dark Skies up at Kielder, where they've got stupidly, I didn't know all 3. On the Friday was the 10K. On the Saturday was the marathon. On the Sunday, there was a half marathon or something like that. So I was going to do all of them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But that, unfortunately, because of the storm damage, has been cancelled. So there are no events. So this is what this was all gearing for, was a little kind of tilt at the 10K race. So, yeah. And also, the 200 and 400s, you say about winter, it was dark. So
yeah,
on trails too.
Yeah. Full speed is going to be... Would you ever go on a track?
I'd love to, yeah. Sedgefield Harriers, since I've been a member of Sedgefield Harriers, they're trying to get a track, and I think this is as close as they have ever been. I think local development money has put some funds into the community, and I think it's going to happen. But yeah, we used to go down to Durham track and use that in Maiden Castle.
Maiden Castle?
Yeah,
the old Tinder track.
Oh, no, it's fantastic now.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's
proper track, yeah.
It's proper. Oh, no, back in my day.
Back in the day.
That old, it wasn't even like red grat. It was just like clay, basically.
Dolomite.
Yeah, and it just had massive puddles in, slightly on a slant. Love it. And if you ran on it and then everything went red, it was like stain. And because I was like a scuzzy student, I never washed stuff, so I just have like red marks everywhere.
Yeah. But Maiden Castle is an awesome facility.
Yeah, as I left Durham, they were like pumping a load of money into the sport.
It's all the student fees getting spent down there.
Yeah, because I think I was the last year where you didn't have to pay. I don't think I'd have gone to uni if I'd had to pay I couldn't have afforded to pay the student however much. I was the last year of like when the county council paid, you got £1,000 or whatever. I can't remember.
Those were the days.
Then, when I left and they started, or uni started being a bit more Americanized, didn't they? I remember them saying the hockey team, as I left, they were like, right, we're going serious. You've got to sign contracts to say like you're not going to go out and stuff like that. And that, I think that would have it would put a lot of my mates off, because half of the reason we played sport, as everyone does at uni, is for the social. Should we call it social?
Imagine trying to do that on a Sunday league football team. You can't go out on a Saturday night.
Oh dear. Oh, keep going. So what are you going to do instead of those races? Have you got anything else like on the horizon?
Oh, I haven't.
You have a shave first, because you're doing the beard tickling again.
Like my white feather. I love my little white.
It makes you feel a bit vomitous.
I have not.
Flake in there or something.
No, there's no food in there for a change. No, I've not. I have looked at it because you can reschedule if your events. Now I've got 3 events and I can reschedule. So I'm looking, I'm trying to look at the various planners to see if anything clashes. But no, I might just go do parkrun. See what 5K comes out. So I think I'll keep chugging along with that. I'm pretty sure looking ahead, there's no more 200s. There's still another chunk of 400s. But I think they do this. Your training plans shift, and they go in chunks, 4 or 5 week cycles, and then you move on to the next phase of training. So yeah, it'd be nice to get into some more threshold based stuff instead of these 200s. I think it's repetition pace, which is usually your mile pace, which is too quick for. It's
just too quick for us, for our rusty old buds. As my kids say to me, if they're like, "Mum, can you get up and get me a spoon or something? Get your rusty old bones up. It'll be good."
Classy.
Youth of today.
Yeah. So, well, I've waffled on quite a lot there. What about yourself, Eddie? How's your week been?
Well, I did think it was quite crappy last week, because I had this very ill child, proper ill, not just like COVID ill.
Yeah.
So I did think, as you get the mum guilt, and she was really ill, so I didn't really want to leave her. So I kind of tried to fit stuff round when she was sort of on the sofa or asleep. But then I look back, and it wasn't too bad. I did my 2 sessions. I switched and I had 5 by 12 minute uphill to do, and that running would have just taken me forever, because I've only got so much climbing until the on the pisted tracks, so then I have to turn around and come back down again. So it would have taken me I was quite up for doing it, but it would have taken me like 2.5 hours by the time I jogged back down again.
Yeah.
So I switched and did it on skis, because I could just keep going up and up and up, which was fun. I've not done like a hard, I do quite a lot of steady efforts on my skis. So about like 140, 150 heart rate. So like, you're moving a little bit faster. But this one I pushed, it went really quickly. 12 minutes went really quickly. I really enjoyed it. The only thing was that I think I put off a lot of people having a lovely holiday skiing down, because I was literally like, just total facial collapse. And the monitors would be like skiing with these lovely turns with their groups, and they'd come near me and I'd be like, but I enjoyed that. I'll definitely do more of that. And
is that on your own, or do you have company for that?
Oh no, I just do that. I do nearly all my sessions. Yeah, all my sessions by myself, because Gary, as we know, no one really wants to do it with you. I quite like doing them by myself as well. I'm quite like, it's an honest effort.
Yeah.
I'm right in this bit, a bit like you, like the volume's really high. So the sessions have to be hard, but they can't be so hard that in 2 days you can't go again. So it's got to be totally, I wear my heart rate monitor for my sessions. So I pitch it and it's totally suitable for me. I feel like if you go with someone with a bit of fresher legs, you're going to go a bit too hard. Or if you go with someone who perhaps isn't used to doing it, well, they're not going to want to come with me anyway. So I do nearly all my hard sessions, but I try and find mates for the longer skis when I'm out for like 4 or 5 hours. So I've got a long run, so I try and find mates for that. So much better. Chat. You could just chat. So yeah, so I've got one more week now. I'm having another big week, and then kids are on half term, and I'm going to have a deload. Very important. Every 3 to 5, 6 weeks, depending on what you're doing. You experience to have a week to wash your kit, basically, for me, and have daily showers. Put my jeans on, see if they still fit.
I think I'm probably guilty of never doing that deload. I don't know why. Just that classic more is more mentality. I don't seem to do that.
Sometimes they just happen naturally, and it's quite good to just maybe slot them in naturally. If you get something happens in life and you just have to have, and you're like, oh, just have a deload week. Important though, Gary.
Yeah, 100%. They all do. I always say this. When you see people after a big race and they're running really hard, really quick, you think most of the professionals don't do that. Some do. I remember, is it Charlotte Purdue after she had a cracking run at London, and I think she was out running the week after, and I thought that was quite unusual for somebody who earns a living. Being an athlete, I was surprised by
I think maybe because it's not our full-time job, that we don't maybe deserve to have the rest. But actually, if you look at a lot of people that train really hard, they're doing as many hours as sometimes a professional athlete.
More if your pace is a lot slower.
Yeah. So always, I think it's really important to plan and recovery.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with our listeners, Eddie?
Well, I've done something mega that.
Does it involve a credit card and a computer?
Not even a credit card, the joint bank account. Actually, I didn't put it on the joint bank account. I put it on my personal bank account. You'll never know how much it costs. So last week, as you all know, was it episode 72, the UTMB rant? I was really, really upset about not getting into UTMB. I don't know why. I think it's my own stupidity, because I never thought that I wouldn't get in, even though it's a lottery.
That's amazing positivity.
I was so positive about it. I was like, work really hard for those points. Yeah. I live really close. They'll see that. I mean,
they listen to the podcast.
Surely they listen to the podcast. They'll let me in. I didn't get a place, and I thought for the last year that I would get a place.
The way we talked about it, I just thought you were in.
And then I didn't get a place, and I was so disappointed, because I'd been I'd done all those races last year to the build, and it's well, that's not going to happen. And then not only that, now they've changed the format. I'm not going to get a place, because I'm not going to go and chase more points and give them more money, and then I might not get a place. It's kind of like someone going, well, you can't do, that's gone really. Yeah. So I was really, really disappointed. I cried. I know it's so sad. I know, I was so disappointed about it. And I've been so looking forward to it. So anyway, I was I need to find something else that I really want to do. And I looked at there's a couple of other really good 100-milers around here. And I had a look at them, but they're really, really technical. And I was really don't want to be out on a ridge, absolutely exhausted, hanging off a rope at 3 a.m. It's just I want to it just was I'm just not sure that's me. No running really at all, so much clambering up and down. I love that for 40k, 50k, but 2 days, 30 hours. It's that doesn't. Anyway, I had a look, and then obviously followed Debs in the Spine, and Debs is a good friend of mine, and I've seen her journey in the last few years, and I was whoa, it started talking to me, and when races start talking to you. Anyway, I was at home. It all kind of just happened. It felt, I was oh god. Anyway, I was at home. James Elson, I blame him as well, was we were WhatsApping. He's you're going to enter, and I was shall I enter? And he's it opens in 2 minutes. And I was, I happened to be on my computer, and I was do I want to do this? Anyway, I'd already got an account, because you have to set up an account to be pre-approved to enter. So I already had that. And I just was well, there's only so much thinking you can do about it. You're just gonna do it. Just enter.
Well, the more I think about that race,
I was Bryn, shall I do it? And he was you can't do it. Oh, then enter.
Classic psychology.
It's you are awful in the cold. you don't eat enough. I was like, yeah, but. So I then spent 2 nights afterwards I like hardly slept. What have I done? Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? But now, bit of time. I'm super excited, super stoked. I'm already thinking about my kit. I'm already thinking about my training.
More money.
I'm already thinking about maybe the summer, doing a little bit of time on the course. So I definitely think it was the right decision. It's given me, I think where we are in our lives, Gary, is like, I kind of feel a bit like it's got to be something quite big to get my juices flowing nowadays. And it absolutely terrifies. I mean, I can't even really actually think about it. I can't think about being on that start line because I'd just be like, I can't even think about it. But wow, it's going to give me a year. It's going to give me a year of great podcast content, if nothing else.
I've got no doubt you can do it, bar injury or some kind of Deb's had medical concerns with the leaning over to one side, issues like that aside. I can't see any reason why you can't do it.
I think I've already swung Bryn around to this, going, look, my strengths. We work on my strengths. I'm really strong. Like really freakishly strong for a woman. So carrying the pack and things, and I can make myself stronger. I'm a solid runner. I'm used to being in the hills. I'm used to the exposure, the weather. That's good. I just need to work on my management of myself out there, and that will be. And if anything, it's going to make me better. It's going to make me a better runner, a better coach, and it's going to change my life. So why would you not?
Yeah. I must admit, though, the more I saw the social media, I saw the wonderful stories, and I thought I wouldn't mind a slice of that, but then I think about it, and when I think about it too long, it's like, no, it's not for me.
But you're already planning. You're going to give everybody a cup of tea. So that you can give me a cup of tea.
Yeah, I didn't realise about that. Maybe I have to check out what the volunteering situation is. Maybe I could.
You could come and change my blisters. You could wash my feet.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Awesome, well, that is brilliant.
Anyway, yeah, here we go. Stand by for the spine chat. Move over, Bob Graham. Here we go.
I'm so happy about that. Come on, got a winter bob first to do.
Right, people have been doing races. What we got? The 30th Wadsworth Trog Fell Race. Jack Scott won it in 2 hours 36, and Sharon Taylor.
Pretty serious fell race, 2 hours
59. That's not just a fell race.
It's an attached Jack. Get him snapped up, somebody.
Sign him up.
And then we have the Pendle Way in a day. And there's a few distances. I'm pretty sure this is the longest course. Julian Hood took the win, 7 hours, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. And Karen Nash, 10 hours, 28 minutes and 5 seconds. Karen Nash, if memory serves me right, she was at the Lady Anne's Way the week before, 100 miler.
She's prolific, isn't she?
Oh, hey. So crushing it, Karen, well done.
It's no coincidence that this week we catch up with Debbie Martin-Consani, who is the recent winner of the Montaigne Spine Race, and I just happened to have entered the Spine Race. She's also a good friend, I should say that caveat. She's a very good friend of mine, and we've had an amazing chat with her. I've actually had to write down, so I haven't even written down all the races that she's done and won because it's taken up a whole page of A4, but I'll just give you a little flavour of some of the races she's won, some of the races that she's done, so that if you don't know Debs, or perhaps you don't even know the extension of her CV, here we go. She has won the Grand Union Canal Race. She's represented Scotland in 100k. She's represented GB number of times in 24-hour races, including taking a team bronze at the World Championship. And she has a 222-kilometre PB over 24 hours. She has won in no particular order. I think almost every Centurion race there is, the Thames Path 100, the South Downs Way 100, the North Downs Way 100, and the Centurion Track 100. She finished 5th in Spartathlon. She's completed the Tour de Jean, and in 2020, she came 2nd in the Spine Race, and only 3.5 weeks ago, she came 1st in the Spine Race. I haven't even read out all her results. She has the most glittering ultra running CV, probably, I think, of anybody in the country. I don't think there's a woman or a man who's done that many races and has featured so highly in the podium. She is the most dedicated trainer, meticulous planner of races, as also a mum and works full time. So if you want a bit of inspiration, here we go. Here's our interview with Debbie Martin-Consani.
This week, we've been super lucky to be joined by Debbie Martin-Consani, fresh 3 weeks out from the winning the spine race. Thanks for joining us tonight. How are you? Where are you? And have you been for a run today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I am in sunny Glasgow. I've been running for the last 2 weeks. I think I had maybe about 10 days off after the spine, and then I had a little run at lunchtime with one of my friends. It's apocalyptic, usual Scottish winter. It was one of those ones you come back from your run and you're just thankful you don't have to leave the house for the rest of the day. Yeah,
was it complete rest? 10 days of absolutely nothing?
Yeah, I wasn't worth a whole lot, to be honest. I had an issue with my back. Anyone who saw my spectacular finish would know that I had, but that cleared up quite quickly, to be honest. The next day I was fine, and then the day after, just swelling, general mobility issues, eating, sleeping, and then I was straight back into work. So yeah, I didn't really have time to think, and there was no burning urge for me to go out. And then I went out for a couple of cycles and stuff, and then decided to go for a little run maybe about 10 days later. So yeah, everything seems to be fine. I think I'm still a bit tired and my heart rate's a bit high, but other than that, I feel okay. I feel all right.
If people don't know you, Debbie, I mean, it's a travesty if people don't know who you are, but can you share just like a little brief summary how you found yourself on the spine start for the second year in a row, your sort of like little brief running journey that led you there?
Well, it's not so brief because I've been running for, as of Wednesday coming, that'll be my 20th year since I went for my first ever run.
Oh, wow.
So I love, the date. I'm not surprised, the date.
I know. Do you know why I know the date? Because it was the day after my niece was born, and it was the first time I became an auntie, and I had the worst hangover in the world. Because me and my flatmates got really drunk because I became an auntie. And do
you remember those days when you used to do stuff like that? Just be like, let's celebrate.
I know. We got really, really drunk. So I started training for a local 10K, which was the Glasgow Women's 10K, which unfortunately is no more, because some people I was working with were going to do it. So I thought I would just do this 10K, and then I just got the bug, and it was just a natural progression where I went from 10K to half marathons to marathons. Joined a running club, met my husband Marco there, and then I've kind of like really enjoyed being out on the hills more than just running around Glasgow. And I was doing a lot of kind of Monroe bagging at the time, and I wanted to find something that combines my love of the hills plus running. And I stumbled across a website for the Devil of the Highlands, which is the second half of the West Highland Way. And then I just went along. I was absolutely destroyed at the end of it, but I loved it, absolutely loved it. So I think that was in 2006. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. And I've represented Great Britain 5 times. I've run for the Scotland 100K team. I'm working my way through an amazing bucket list of experiences. So yeah, I'm quite fortunate the things that I have, the journey that running has took me on. I never thought in a million years when I couldn't run for a minute on that cold February evening in Glasgow.
Hungover.
hungover, definitely had a cigarette at the end of it. I never thought in a million years that running would have taken me on the journey that it has. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride.
Were you in your 20s when you started, Deb? So, because I have lots of clients that starting their running journey now, and I love the fact that you didn't come and go, oh, like, you know, I was like this and this when I was 8 and 9 and 10, and the fact that and I love the fact that you started with a 10K and you've worked your way up, and you've done every year, you've set yourself like another race, another challenge. And the biggest, Debs won't say this, she probably put it on Instagram, but she wouldn't say it on podcast, but she has ticked off the most amazing bucket list of races. She must be the most consistent ultra runner in Great Britain. If Debs puts her name on the start line, you know she's going to turn up fully prepared with the best kit, looking the best, and she's, unless something terrible happens, she's going to finish that race, whatever it seems thrown at her. She has the ultimate in determination and dedication, which is so inspirational.
I am very stubborn, and I thought it was because like I was super strong, and then I read this book when I was doing my yoga teacher training, and apparently like people who don't quit have just got massive egos, and I was like taken aback. I was like, what? It's not just because I'm, but yeah, I mean, I think when I don't race very often, I only race a few times a year, and I generally have one big race that I want to focus on, and I basically throw all my eggs in the basket. I commit 100% to that race, and as you'll know, Eddie, like as a working mom, or you know, you've only got one chance to do this. It's not like I can just go along to Tour de Jean and go, do you know what, it's a bit hard for me today, so I'll just come back next year. You just don't have that opportunity. So sometimes, you know, the result or the outcome has not been pretty, but you know, I've got there in the end, because sometimes you've just only got one shot to do it, and you've just got to grab it by, you know, the scruff of the neck, and you just got to get on with it.
Well, you did have 2 shots at the spine race, though. What did they, Eddie?
Yeah.
It's an excellent link, Gary. You know,
I know that was seamless. You're like, yeah, that's BS there, Debs. The spine's obviously not too far away, and it's January, and there's nothing really happening in January. But yeah, you know, I did it in 2020, and I was supposed to do it last year, and then COVID, the world went a bit sideways, so they just rolled over. Yeah, obviously when I finished 2020, like you do when you finish every single race, you're never ever going back to do it. You know, I say that at park run. It's just
me too. Oh, it's disgusting.
Most races I've literally retired halfway through, and that's it. I'm done with running completely. So it wasn't like I finished the race and said, "Oh, I'm definitely going back," which I find really hard for people who've signed up this week, because it's so close and it's still really raw.
Elaine signed up again.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
You know, it's just to have that, to still have that raw emotion and, you know, everything. Yeah. And then to sign up a few weeks later. So there is quite a few that have signed up again. Whereas I had a little bit more time to think about it. And it just, you know, I couldn't quite articulate why I wanted to go back. I just knew in my heart that I wanted to go back. And it wasn't because I felt like there was some kind of redemption. It wasn't like I was unhappy with my time or my position or how I performed or how I dealt with things, because I wasn't. I was just really happy to get to the end. But I just knew there was just more in me. And I just wanted to go back and give it my best shot, which was always my goal. So
did you find, compared to 2020, regardless of the position, you know, you obviously first female this time round, but did you have a better race? Did you kind of enjoy the process more?
Yeah,
in 2022?
Much better. I was still terrified, but in 2020 I was absolutely petrified. Like I was crying before the start, and I'm not really a crier at all, but I was just so scared, and it was that great unknown, and the fact that, you know, self-management is not my forte. I leave everything too late. I get myself in some awful mess because I just don't look after myself properly. So I think going into it the first time, it was that great unknown, and maybe I was so scared the second time because I actually knew what I was putting myself in for. And the fact that you just can't prepare for it. You can do as much prep you want for the race, but it's just like you learn on the job. you just have to deal with things as and when they pop up, and you can't prepare for half the things that you have to deal with. But I think I was probably more relaxed. I didn't feel under any pressure at all. There was some blockbuster names there, and I thought if I had a really good day, I might complete the podium. But really, I was just racing or running. You don't really race the spine. I was just doing it for myself because I wanted to just have a better experience. And yeah, it was. 95% of it, I was just really happy and really content. There was a few like cracking low points, as you'd expect there to be. But most of it, I was just really happy. And I think going away from it, I'm really happy with my time, and I'm super happy I won, obviously. But I think for me, just to go away with that amazing experience, apart from like the last section was not so amazing with my back. But I think on a race of that scale, I think there's always going to be on the final day, everyone's going to have probably that one major debilitating problem, whether it be mental, emotional, mechanical. Whereas the first time I did it, it was my shins. I had tendonitis in both my shins, as did a lot of people, because they were pulling their feet out of mud for so long. And that was like really debilitating in the last day as well. So this time it was just my back. If I was to ever go back, which I'm not, by the way, I'm just saying that right now, there'll probably be something else on the final day. I think everyone has just that one thing that's really, really hard in the latter stages. But yeah, I think overall, I just had a stronger performance, and a much better experience. But most of it was down to how I dealt with it mentally and emotionally, rather than being physically stronger.
I think is it Sabrina pulled out, oh my goodness, would it have been the Monday or Tuesday? And then you found yourself in the league. Did you all of a sudden you were like, my goodness, I'm in the lead, and did you have kind of a mental shift in how you were thinking about the race?
Yeah, I think I did initially, because you had that major excitement. It was just like this boost of adrenaline where I was like, oh my goodness, I'm leading the spine race, what is going on? But it was also really unsettling, because it wasn't a position I expected myself to be in at any point in the race, let alone being there at Monday lunchtime, and then spending 3 days running scared. So it definitely wasn't the position that I wanted to be in, and I got myself into quite a little bit of a pickle, because then I was like, well, where is everyone else? What's everyone doing? I need to keep moving. I need to do this. I need to almost like start racing. And it took a good 24 hours of me kicking my own head in to just have a firm word with myself. I was going up High Cup Nick on the Tuesday as the sun was setting, and I was literally speaking to myself in a weird kind of, just having that stern word for myself, because I was out here to do the best I could, and I was doing the best I could, and nobody else can change that for me. And I just had that mental shift for about an hour. And when I was going down into Dufton, coming off High Cup Nick, I was just really happy, because I'd finally pushed over that barrier that I'd set for myself.
And you said, you're doing your own race, you're not really thinking about other people, but did you have any intel? Was somebody kind of saying, no, it's really nice, because the volunteers actually don't give you any information unless you specifically ask for it. So I remember last year when I was coming off Crossfell, and I phoned my best friend Sharon, and she was just like, you've got no idea how well you're doing, are you? And I was like, nope. And she's like, well, you're in, I think I was in like 7th or 8th at that point, and I had no idea, because I didn't want to have any information. There's nothing worse than you're in an ultra and you're just doing your best, and it's quite early doors, and people are like, oh, you're 8th women. But like, it makes no difference. And I didn't really want any information, because I knew I was doing the best I could, and I knew I was moving the best I could. And so I wasn't really sure of. I remember there was one point where I was coming into the last checkpoint, and there was a guy out with his family, and he was like, he brought flasks of coffee, and he was making coffee, and he was giving me updates on like the carnage ahead, and he was laughing. He was like, at this rate you might actually win it. And I was like, what is going on? What's happening with the boys? So yeah, I wasn't, and you can follow it on a tracker and stuff, but I didn't even have my phone out. I didn't even take a picture, Eddie.
I wondered this only today, Debs. I was like, I haven't seen the picture. Because I WhatsApped you all the time, and I didn't expect to reply, but I remember the first time you did it, you were more on WhatsApp and you were a bit more, but you didn't, and I was proud of that because I was like,
I didn't even switch on WhatsApp until
laser focused. I mean, I'm proud of that. You've come such a long way.
It's quite easy to like sit and I saw people in checkpoints who were like updating Facebook and phoning their families, and you know, I phoned Marco a couple of times. I phoned my mum. Because she gets so distracted. And it was the first time I've ever phoned my mum in a race because I can't talk to my mum without getting like.
How did she cope with that? She's poor wee mum. Was she crying?
No, she was totally fine. But I can't phone my mum during races because she just makes me too emotional because it's your mum, right? And I remember.
Did she say like mine, going, well, you put yourself through it. It's your own choice to be out there. So just go with it.
She's much nicer than me. So yeah, and I didn't go on WhatsApp. I didn't go on any social stuff, and it was good because I was just in my own little bubble. And I knew like work is always chaotic, and I thought if I'd like switch on something and see like a work thing, then that'll be me for like So I just like completely shut off from everything, and it was a good place to be because there's not many times now that you can just like. You know, I'd be lucky if I'm away from my phone for like half an hour. You know, it's so it's actually quite nice just to not have that contact. And I knew if there was a problem or something, then I would know about it. It wasn't like I didn't have access to my phone or message. I just cut off like anything that would just distract me. To be honest, I knew that if I looked at it, someone would give me information that I didn't really want as well. So, but it was nice to read all the messages at the end.
Yeah,
I think everybody likes it when they go somewhere and there's no phone signal, and you just have that moment of kind of peace and quiet. It's awesome. But then when you go back into a signal and your phone starts pinging left, right, and centre. I've never experienced this. Any hallucinations over the race?
Oh yeah. When I was going up Crossfell, which is the highest point, on Tuesday evening, and I'd had like 20 minutes sleep by that point, and I got lost, and then in the fog, and then it was snowing, and the fog was just really bad, and there was a lot of ice, and I was just really, really tired. And then going down into the next checkpoint, which is like 10 miles away, it was really icy, so I couldn't really run, but I couldn't really run because I was ruined. I was so tired. I couldn't stay on my feet. I was like falling asleep on my feet. I tried to put on some music to try and like focus, but I kept seeing people in head torches everywhere. But yeah, my hallucinations probably weren't as bad as last time. I always find that time before dawn, there's like a few hours before dawn that your mind just goes a little bit funky. Yeah, but the thing is, you know you're hallucinating, so it's not like you're scared or totally freaking out. You just know that's your mind playing tricks on you. At least that's what it is for me anyway.
Well, I think I'll be a bit freaked out. I'm not too sure.
You'd be so scared, Gary.
I'm not very good like that. No, I like to be in control.
No.
And you seem exhausted. What kind of sleep were you on?
I think over the 4 nights I had just less than 3 hours.
Oh my goodness, Eddie.
But to put it into perspective, like I love an 8-hour sleep every night. I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock and I'm up by 6, and that's just, I have quite a normal sleeping routine, so I'm not like Maggie Thatcher and I can live on 3 hours sleep and stuff like that. I'm just but when you're in that environment, and you know, it's all about forwards momentum, and you've got adrenaline, and you don't really get sleepy tired. There's bits, but when you're tired, you crash like you've never crashed that hard. But yeah, so many people do it, and they have like really good night's sleep, and they do it well within the time frame. And probably if you were sleeping more, you would move faster when you were awake. So it's all kind of swings and roundabouts. I don't know how it would work. I know in a lot of these kind of, they're not multi-stage, but let's just say they're over a few days. A lot of people will concentrate more on the sleep, and then they're moving faster when they're awake. I just go for the scrimp on sleep thing. And of course, I knew Elaine wasn't too far behind me as well. And I think she was sleeping probably about the same schedule as me. And there was one at Bellingham where I was there for 3.5 hours, and I was trying to sleep and I couldn't sleep. It was just freezing. And then when I left there and I started out on the Cheviot, I had to just stop and get my bivvy out and sleep on the side of the hill for 20-30 minutes because I couldn't move. So yeah, you spend a lot of time trying to sleep, and then you get really frustrated, and then you move, and then all of a sudden you're just like dead on your feet, and you need to sleep, and you started just eating into time that way.
Last one for me, Eddie. Sorry, I've hogged all these questions.
I'm enjoying this so much.
Did you, again, I have in the past when I've raced over, say, 24 hours or 100 miles, but with some of that, did you find you'd buddy up with other runners and share quite a few miles with other athletes?
Yeah, I think in the first couple of days I did. I ran with Elaine quite a bit, which was really nice. She's like total badass. She's like fierce mum 3, like just grinds. You know, I've seen her. I think like I'm like one of these ones. I totally ham it up, and I'm like super happy and super smiley. And even if I am having a bad time, I will still on the outside look like I'm not, because that's the way that's my coping mechanism. Whereas Elaine just doesn't hide any of that, you know. It's just like she's all out there on her, you know. So there was bits of it. She just looked like she was really not enjoying it, and she kept saying like, "I'm only doing this because I don't want to come back here again." And I get that, because I've done that before. I did that in UTMB. You know, I just was like, "This is not for me. I'm just finishing it, so I don't have to come back here." So, sorry, I forgot what the question was, Gary. I've just gone off on one.
Oh, just, if you run with any other athletes, any company on the run. Yeah.
So I ran with other people, and there was a guy, Mark Potts, who's also going back next year. I ran with him for quite a good section, actually. So I didn't really, probably in the first couple of days, but then I was pretty much alone from probably about Tuesday morning. Yeah. Wow. Even before that, actually. There was a few bits where you had some kind of brief interaction, but no, I was pretty much on my own, and that's fine. You have to accept the fact that you're on your own, and I think it's hard to run with other people. I know I've spoken to Laura Swanson quite a few times, and she was with another guy for about 100 miles or something.
150 miles they ran together.
Oh my gosh.
So I wouldn't want to run with Bryn for 10.
No, there's very few people in this world who put me. Even my mum wouldn't put up with me for 150 miles. Wow. So, but I think because like she was going for the first time and she just really wanted to finish it. So it'd be good for her to go back. Yeah. It'd be good for her to go back, because now she's got that confidence in her ability to do it, and obviously she's going to have a completely different race. But I didn't really run with anyone the first time. It's kind of hard because you just get into your own groove, and people peak and trough at different times. So for people to be together for that length of time, they've obviously made that decision that they want to, and they need that support. Whereas I'm quite happy being alone with my crazy thoughts and my singing Taylor Swift. There was a lot of singing.
You ask your last one, Gary, and then we've ticked off your list. My gosh, Gary loves Deb. She's written the longest list of questions. Surprised there's got little heart emojis.
Was there a particular part of the route that you least look forward to?
I never want to see Crossfell ever again as long as I live. I mean, I don't even know why people go up there. I mean, it's supposed to be like I think it's the highest peak outside the Lake District. So it's not too far away from the Lake District. And they've got a weather station on it, which just really sums up how crap the weather is up there. But it's just horrible. It's desolate. It's just a horrible place to be.
It's quite bleak.
So I'll be quite happy if I never see that ever again.
Yeah. Were you less anxious? Because I reread your blog from the first race a couple of days ago, and your anxiety comes through quite a lot of it about going up on the river crossings and the high crosses. Were you less anxious about those bits?
We didn't have the same elements. I think my anxiety from the first one is because I'd just come out of the back tail end of Storm Brendan, which was hands down the most horrific conditions I've ever run in. And so I knew I was going up Crossfell, and I knew it was like snowing, and there was a lot of snow. There was still a lot of wind. I wasn't exactly high kicking because the storm had just taken, and before I'd got to Crossfell, I'd also just got lost in the snow up High Cup Neck, and I got like really cold and I couldn't, my head torch went out and I couldn't get my rucksack off. And I was just like every catastrophe before I got there. So yeah, I was really, but sometimes like the things that you're really worried about are the things that are actually
Always,
totally fine.
yeah.
Absolutely, totally fine. Because when I was like looking at the weather forecast and the lead up to the race, I just kept thinking, right, the storm's going to hit on Monday night, and that's when I'm going to be going up Shunnerfell. And my anxiety was like, I don't really suffer from anxiety in everyday life, by the way. It's not like if you suffer from anxiety, don't go do this, fine. But I knew that I was going to go up Shunnerfell and it was going to be the storm. But what I hadn't factored in was the storm was going to hit way before I got there. But because I wasn't going up high, I thought I'd be fine. Whereas most of the storm hit before I'd even got there. Yeah. But yeah, so I think once I'd gone up Crossfell, after the storm, I knew you've still got 100 miles to go, but it's almost like you've just really, you broke the back of it, to be honest, because you've got through so much to get there. But yeah, I mean, when I did it in 2020, it was so good having Sabrina ahead of me, because like we all know Sabrina's like proper badass. And I knew she wouldn't be sitting in Dufton cowering away from the storm. She was way up there with her plastic poncho on.
Plastic poncho, Las Sportivas.
Yeah, she was just like straight in there, and she wouldn't have been sitting in Dufton like texting her husband saying she's too scared. So it was actually really nice to have that. But yeah, I think we didn't have the same external factors to deal with this time around. I think we had the bad weather, the winter weather, shall we say, was more front loaded. So rather than Monday, but once we knew we got into like the Wednesday and later on in the week, it was optimal conditions. And I think the way that my race unfolded, because I was that little bit ahead most of the time, I wasn't going into the checkpoints in daylight like I did last time, which was just when daylight is so precious, the last thing you want to do is like waste 3 hours of it sleeping and eating and repacking. And so yeah, I was still really nervous. Like I couldn't eat on the Saturday because I just felt so nauseous, and I was still terrified on the Sunday. Mainly because it means so much. Fear's not a bad thing. It's not. I don't do these things because I'm fearless. I do these things because they literally terrify me, and that's why I want to do them. If it doesn't put fire in my belly, what's the point?
Yeah.
So, so I was still really nervous. I just didn't have the same level of fear, but it was still very prominent.
At the end, can I just say as well, I've watched the video where you see your mum at the finish and you go, my mum's here. And I'm like, the kids are like, why are you crying, mum? I'm like, Deb's mum was there and they hugged and so emotional. But then you do this amazing interview. I don't know if it's still up on the Montaigne Facebook page, but you talk, I don't know who you're talking to, but you talk about, I don't even know if you've had a shower. When you do this like 5-minute bit to camera about being really content out there, when I think he asks you like, were you really happy? How did you cope with the low points? How did you cope with the happy points? And you were like, I was just really content to be out there. And I've really thought about that. And sometimes when I have to go out and it's like 3 hours in the snow and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. But then I think of you, Debs, and I'm like, I don't have to be happy. I don't have to be like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. I'm really enjoying this. I don't have to like hate it either. I'm just going to go in my Debs, it's my new thing, my Debs like content zone. I like being here. I love training. And so just be content. Can you tell us a little bit about that, that sort of headspace that you found?
I think that's the best you can hope for in a race like that, is to be content, right? Because, it's really tough. There's so many factors, it's a long way. You're carrying so much. There's like 16 hours of darkness. The underfoot conditions are horrific. But, you've got to remember, you've paid a small fortune to get there. You've trained through some really bleak conditions during the winter. I was going out on my local hills, which are almost as awful as the Pennine Way, on a Saturday night when I just wanted to be in my pajamas watching Strictly. There was just that I'd put myself out there to do that. The kit list costs a fortune, you're going away and you've got all the work to do and you're leaving your family. So I just don't see the point in being out there being miserable. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you spend all that money, train so hard for you just to walk about like really not having a great time. But it's also unrealistic to think it's going to be the best time ever, because it's the spine and it's a Pennaway and it's January, and there's going to be a lot of misery in there. But so you're not going to be like really positive, high five in the crowds, and
when there's a camera, you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have uplifts. Yeah. I mean, I was just genuinely quite happy, because I wasn't like really having the best time, because there's, I had like sore back and I was carrying all this stuff and I was soaked to my knickers and stuff like that. But I wasn't like thinking I'm having the most miserable time. So the best you can hope for is, like I said in that interview, is to have like a neutral mindset. So you're just like, you're neither positive, but you're not negative. You're just here and you're just doing the best you can. So I think that's the best that you can hope for. And I was quite content. And it's so easy to start thinking, 10 miles to the next checkpoint, 4 hours till darkness, 4 hours till dawn. And, it's so easy to think, I've still got 100 miles to go. Or when you're in a race of that scale, you can't keep thinking ahead. Like if you're in a marathon, you're like, oh God, I'm only mile 8 and I've got 26 miles to go. That's even that, that would just mess with your head. So you've got to break it down. I just tried to think about like each section and each day rather than try and think too far ahead. And if my mind started to get negative, then I just pulled it back to just being where I was and doing what I was doing and just reassuring myself that whatever I was doing, I was definitely doing the best that I could.
Embrace it. So Dean Carnassus, embrace the suck. That was his.
Well, it's not even like, it can be so much more enjoyable if you just embrace it. That's all you need to do. And even all the low stuff, because the low stuff doesn't last forever. There's ways that you can pull yourself out. In a race of that scale, there's so many things you can do. Unlike a marathon, if something goes wrong, that's it. You're over.
You're doomed.
Everything will just unravel really quickly and there's just no coming back from it. But if you're doing something of that scale, there's so many things that you can do to fix yourself. Even if it's just like food or clothes or sleep or just some human connection. So there's so many things you can do. But I was just quite happy. And sometimes if I did get that negative thinking too far ahead, I just stuck on my AirPods, put on some Taylor Swift, and I just sang at the top of my voice. And then I lost my AirPods in the sheet bits again.
No.
Second time.
I'll find them for you, Debs.
Thanks, if you wouldn't mind.
I'll have a good look.
Do you know what? I was probably only about, I think I just had them in my ears when I went for a sleep, and then I got up, and then I lost. Both times I've lost a left AirPod.
Have you not? Because I've already been thinking about that, thinking I'm going to go old school with the wire, because I find that then when you take them out, you know where to put them.
Yeah, you're probably right, Eddie.
I know, don't worry.
But it's a bit late.
I'll give you a few more tips later.
You're probably right. But I only have AirPods, so I just kind of stuck them in my pocket. But on the grand scale of things, doesn't matter. I just bought another pair.
I mean, when you've paid that much with all your kit, just throw the AirPods.
So drop in the ocean.
Drop in the oceon.
I'd love to talk about kit.
Yeah,
could you? Oh, I see you set me up, Eddie. Fantastic.
Oh, this is like the pro team tonight, isn't it?
Well, I think the kit list would be too long for you to reel off. I think everybody knows that it's quite an extensive kit list. But what does your pack weigh? I say at the start, I just
section, Debs.
Yeah, it's got a pen and paper. I could see these massive backpacks that went at the start line. What kind of weight are you looking at?
I don't know, because ignorance is bliss. It didn't matter what it weighs because I was going to have to carry it. So, and I got it down to as light as I could. I spent a small fortune getting this really, really light kit. I think the sleeping bag alone can set you back £300-400 that comes in this. I think I upgraded a few things as well. So I got a smaller sleeping mat. I think the outlay when I first did it was, I was just like, oh, that'll do. Whereas now I already had the stuff. I won't tell Bryn.
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't listen to the podcast further.
I'm going to ask this question about the cost. But before I get onto that, I'm really curious. What are the kid checks like? Is it kind of progressively through the race? You're being checked as you go?
They change it every year, and then they add little bits on just to make sure that you buy more stuff. I'm convinced of it. So it's this time when we went into lockdown last year, when the race was going to go ahead, I think one of the checkpoints quite early on you weren't allowed to sleep at. So instead of like the emergency bivvy, you had to have like a waterproof proper bivvy. So that was like another 150 quid on a bivvy, and it was just like, and then I got this like really, I've never used any of this stuff, by the way. So sorry, what was the question again, Gary? I've lost.
Oh, just if I imagine they do check the kit at the beginning and the end, but it
points.
He wants to check you carried that kit all the way, because
you do have to cut, and they do every time you go into a checkpoint. They wait till you packed your bag, and then they do the kit check.
Yeah. Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
they don't let you get it unpacked again when you packed it. You can't
run the risk of them saying, have you got such and such? And then you just pull it out your duffel bag. So they wait, and it's guaranteed to be the thing at the bottom of your bag. So like I had my sleeping bag, and then I had my mat wrapped around it, and then my bivvy bag wrapped around that. So just like to have like the most smallest space ever, right down in a stuff sack with all the things that I wasn't going to use unless it was emergency. And then they'll be like, I need to see your mat.
Yes.
Do you just
oh my God, they look, I didn't even need, I'm Scottish. If I'm not saying it with my mouth, I'm saying it with my face, right? But they do it to everyone.
Yeah.
So, I don't think people would deliberately try and break the rules because, there's so many, like, why would you? Because you're just going to get penalised, or you're going to get disqualified.
Or you might actually need it. And I'm sure 99% of people do have a slight fear when they head out, and knowing that you have got a bivvy bag.
Yeah, so you need to have, but sometimes the kit list is so extensive that it would also be really easy to forget something.
Yeah.
Because you've got kit everywhere, and it's like you're pulling out spikes and foods and like battery pack and all these things, and it's just like I made a little note, and I had this mental like checklist when I was like packing everything, and then it got to that stage where I was just like, just don't take anything out because it takes too long to pack it all again. And you
like
get
the kids with their school bags, just don't take any books out, Mum. I'm like, I can hardly lift it. And they're like, no, because I'll forget something. So I'll just keep everything in there.
It's just like that. But it's kind of, yes, I don't know how much it weighed, but I didn't weigh it because there's no point. I'm going to have to carry all that anyway. I did try and get it as light as possible. And I know my pack was, I saw a couple of people with packs lighter than me, and I was like, how is that even possible? Because I have like got it as light as I possibly could have and as less bulk. But there's things that I did carry that I didn't need to. So I had like a lightweight down jacket because I've learned from experience, like if you get cold,
decided on that already.
Waterproofs aren't going to help you. There's no amount of waterproofs that's going to help you if you're cold. You need a down jacket. So, I'd made that decision to carry that. But there was people with much bigger packs. But then they attacked the race at a different, like I had no intentions of bivvying out, but there was people who were using that as part of their race strategy. Yeah. So they would have had a different, probably different things in their pack than what I would have.
Maybe they didn't have Bonneville chocolate in every orifice as well.
1,000 calories, Ed. That's all you need.
That's all I'm gonna take. And I'll get a taste for it as well. I'll be like, I'm never eating this, and then I'll be up high up going, God, it's the best thing ever.
I remember when I was speaking to Laura, she was saying like the person that she was with, he had loads of chocolate and she really didn't pack any chocolate. And I was like, you should have been with me because hundreds of it. And it's after the race.
Let's talk about nutrition, because you will say, this isn't a surprise for anybody, that race nutrition isn't your strongest point. But how do you manage on a race this length with the calorie intake?
Yeah, I would have been eating more if I was sitting here working all day than what I was when I was out there. Even like I can't eat loads at the one time as well. So I would have like a bowl of soup and some bread, or some lasagna, or a bowl of pasta. So it's not like I was going into checkpoints and eating loads. I was making more of a conscious effort. So I was trying to think on an hourly basis or every 6 miles. So I was trying to eat more than what I don't think I need to eat that much when I'm on the go, to be honest, compared to a lot of other people. I remember I was running with a guy last year and he just had loads, and then he started going up the hill and he was totally bonking. And I was like, he was a big guy, whereas like,
Yeah.
I just think,
small.
you know, it's probably harder for people who have bigger frames and have to take in more calories. I was trying to be more aware and try and eat a little bit more, but yeah, but the thing is, like, you actually crave like hot, savoury foods, you know, so the idea of having like soups and stews and lasagnas is all the things you really want. You don't really want to eat bars of Bourneville that are frozen and I'm probably going to take your teeth out. So all the normal things like gels and sweets and sweet things, you don't want any of that stuff. So I was trying to eat like snack bars.
How long could you eat gels for? You know, over days and days. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, but sometimes if you're just like that way where you're really just too far gone and you just need a quick fix. I did have a couple of gels in my pocket and I did take the couple. Because I knew at that point I just needed something just to pull me around from whatever, you know, even if I'm just like falling over or, you know, just stumbling a bit, that's when I know I just need a little quick fix of sugar. So I did actually take a couple of gels, which is, yeah.
The most you've taken since 2016.
I did the whole of the Autumn 100 on gels only.
I'm proud of you.
I've just got to the stage now where I don't even bother. Why am I just like go with so much food options and I just don't eat them. So now I'm just not. I carried 3 cheese sandwiches for about 150 miles on the Pennine before I'd been.
Oh, I'd never been a cheese sandwich.
No, what a waste. Go and find that bin, Gary. They might still be there.
Yeah.
Is there a highlight snack? Is there a highlight snack of the whole race and you're like, that was the best thing?
Oh, Eddie, wait till you get to Alston and get the lasagna.
Is it just amazing?
It's like
Heaven.
Angels must make it.
Surely there's angels at Alston.
Alston Lasagna has its own Instagram account now.
No.
Have you set that up?
No.
Probably got more followers than us.
They have a veggie version and a meat version. And my mum, because I did that interview at the end when someone asked what was the highlight, and I was like, the lasagna. And for like 2 days, my mum was like so happy because she thought I had meat lasagna. Like, you've had the lasagna. And I was like, yeah, Mum. And she was just like,
oh, she's like, at last you can come round, we can have a proper roast.
So yeah, the food's actually really, really good. The food's really good.
Can you take any food from the checkpoints out onto the hill with you, or have you got to carry all your
I'm not quite sure it's transportable, to be honest. It's not like they've got
that
like
lasagna gets...
Yeah, but apparently one guy had 8 portions of lasagna this year.
You'd still be there, Debs.
I've got you down for 9 next year, Eddie.
19. Eddie's still there. It was all going so well.
Just scrape it in.
Yeah. But the food is so good. And it's just like, you know, they'll be like, do you want some rice pudding? And you're just like, that's
I'm going to have a second.
And they're so nice. The volunteers are just like, amazing. Like so amazing. And I think both years I've been quite lucky because, don't want to sound totally wanky, but you know, you're quite high up in the field, so they've been sitting there for hours. So when you come in, they're like,
and you're a woman coming in, and you're hilarious. They're like, who is this small, loud Scottish lady? I love her.
I know,
singing Taylor Swift to herself.
And I know, and I've got like a whole audience. I'm like, oh, hello.
Is this live? Because I'm ready if this is live. Just give me a moment. Sorry, Gary. Your turn.
Oh, well, I know the lasagna was your high point. See, I've done it again. I've weaved it in. What your highest highs and your lowest lows from the race?
My highest high was hike up Neck. It was sunset and the sky was just on fire. It was absolutely beautiful, and it made it so much more special because when I got there the year before, I was in an absolute state. And so getting there, feeling strong, and I'd had that chat with myself, so I'd mentally reframed my goals and what I was out there to do, and just to get there feeling so strong and so happy. I just knew then that I was just having a completely different race from I was the year before. And just mainly because I was just feeling so mentally strong and just feeling so happy.
Yeah.
And you know, you're quite deep into the race then, so it's not like it's the first day and everyone's feeling happy. So yeah, that was the absolute highlight. The lowest point was coming up Crossfell. But that was broken up by the fact you go into Greg's hut and John Bamber makes you noodles, which is like, it's a real highlight as well. So it wasn't like all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was in a pretty bad state when I got into the next checkpoint. And then going over the Cheviots from my back was deeply unpleasant. So, but most of it was just really, really good. Most of it was really good.
What a place to have your high point, Hike Up Nick. It's a beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh my goodness me, yeah.
Yeah.
How one of my big worries is the navigation in the dark and in the bad weather.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk to me about that.
See, I just had it on my watch.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, but I know the course. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I know it. I think it's hard to know the Pennine Way because there's nothing intuitive about it. You know, it's kind of, and there's no real, I mean, apparently there's loads of signposts, but you'd be lucky to see them. So yeah, I mean, I had it on my watch and that was obviously invaluable in the night time. And I bought myself the new Garmin 6X Pro, which I think has now just been superseded by the 7.
Yeah.
But the fact it's got like really good maps on it, the battery life, I only charged it a couple of times. Whereas,
how did you get the whole route on Strava?
Well, so
this is big questions now. We're going deep, so you know.
It was literally the highlight of my week, being able to upload.
Mine too.
It's just like the most beautiful Strava thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm amazed it didn't break Strava. How you did
so
that.
I wasn't sure it was going to work because I think like the old Garmin's used to like freeze after like 100 hours or something, so I wasn't convinced it was going to work. But what I did is I had all the maps in sections, so I think you can get the full race in one GPX, but it's not too accurate. Okay. So I just uploaded them in like the 5, 6, I think there's like 6 different GPX, and then I just let it run, and then I would just go into navigation, switch on the next section.
Yeah.
What I did do is when I was going into checkpoints, though, I would stop it and resume later because the GPS inside building goes absolute haywire. I learned that in Tour de Gion, and I think it put on like 30 miles onto the course or something. It just went crazy. So that's why when I went into buildings, I stopped it and then pressed resume later. And then obviously when I uploaded to Strava, I set it as a race. So that's kind of...
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, it was quite nice to have that file.
I love it that you talk about, like, I was totally done. I couldn't get my gloves off. You know, I was absolutely ruined, but always resume later on the watch was able to be pressed.
I'm so impressed you didn't save the activity or something halfway.
Oh, I don't know how. I mean,
one guy I did, Mark, who I did, he'd done that by accident. And he was like, he was genuinely gutted. I'm sure he's over it now. But
I'm going to need bulletproof. Everything else, you know, I'm sure I can work out without asking you, but this I will need bulletproof.
It's so important.
It's so important.
It's so important that you've got that.
So you didn't need a map? Did you use a map at all?
There was a bit once where I got the maps out on my phone because I decided to take a detour going off Crossfell. Like I went off a really prominent path, and my GPS I think it just gone a bit crazy in the fog. I don't know, or what was going on, or maybe my mind was going a bit crazy. It's probably the latter, to be fair. And I just came off, and then I just couldn't get back on it. And I was just going round in circles, climbing barbed wire fences, going down by the river.
Goodness me.
I think I was keeping everyone amused in the checkpoints because they just sit and watch their dots coming in. And my office in Glasgow, they were all watching. They're like, "Where's she going?" And one of my bosses was like, "You need to phone her, tell her she's lost." And my friend,
she knows.
My fellow work was like, "I probably won't. I think she knows." And I was like, "Can you imagine him phoning Debs? Just so you know, you're lost." Yeah, I got the mapping out on my phone then. I think my maps were completely soaked, to be honest. So there was a few times that I used, so I bought the actual Pennine Way map. It's not great, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I used it a couple of times. But other than that, just my watch, to be honest. Yeah, I just use that. It's just when you're going up in the fog and it's snowy and icy. And I just don't know how people use a map and compass. I mean, I know there is people who do it, but they've just got a completely different skill set from what I have.
Yeah. I've got a friend who's entered the race 2023. What is the rules on road support and people meeting them en route, Debbie?
You can have. I think the general rule is, if someone comes out to see you, they have to offer the same support to everyone in the race. So you can go out and say hi and just how you doing? Because I had a few people who came out and did that, but they can't offer you anything.
No cups of tea then, Eddie.
But you can, if you came out and gave Eddie a cup of tea, but you would have to give all the runners that you see around there. So it's not like you might want to check that, by the way. But I remember like Mike Halliday came out and he came out the year before and found me going around a golf course because I'd lost the glove and I'd blown away in the wind. So he came out this year and he brought like a bottle of Coke and something else. And he came out and he's like, yeah, do you want a cup of Coke? And I, that'd be brilliant. And I had to stop myself. I was like, oh my God, I can't take it. And he was like, and I was just all those things that you just forget. But then there was a guy at the end of the road who was making coffee for everyone. But then that's fine because he hasn't come out specifically to see me. So yeah, you can accept things from people out in the course, but you can't have actual someone coming out supporting you specifically.
Noted. I'll write that one down.
But you can go out and see her and say, hi, Eddie, you look amazing. And you're totally crushing it.
You look so good, Eddie.
And you're so on course record pace.
This could be the first time we actually meet, though, Eddie. It'd be quite funny.
I'd be like, I know the voice, but...
There's been some, at the end, the photographs of you with a heavy tilt. Was that because sometimes, we say, I think I saw with Damien Hall, he had this heavy lean and that was more, I think, hydration, kind of caught up with him. That was different for yourself, though, was it? That was this...
Yeah, I think so. I remember when before I was going into the last checkpoint, some at Fever Media who were doing the filming, Matt was like, are you drinking enough? And I was like, why are you asking me? And he's like, you're leaning a little bit. And I was like, you're the third person that's told me this. I was hoping it wasn't true because I didn't feel like I was.
Yeah.
And obviously the medics had found out I was leaning and they came out to find me to just check that I was compos mentis. And I was, well, as together you're going to be at that stage in the race. So I knew I was mentally okay, but I had to make that really conscious effort to be like super happy and super together and answering all the questions.
Like when you go home and you're younger and you've had too much to drink and you're like,
yeah, and I'm going to talk in a really straight sentences and I'm going to walk in. So I was doing all that. And then when I got to the next checkpoint, the medics came out looking for me and they were like, we need to film you walking. And I was like, oh God, this is not. And it's like, you've only got 26 miles to go at that point. So yeah, when I said to Matt, he was like, you're leaning. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to finish looking like Damien Hall. And obviously, I wish I looked like Damien Hall when I looked at the picture.
No,
but I
so much better.
I wasn't aware that I was doing it. And now when I look back at some of the pictures and some of the footage, it happened way earlier than I thought it had. So it was quite prominent from like the Wednesday, whereas I thought it was very much a Thursday thing. So when someone had pointed it out to me, I was probably slightly leaning. And then when I look at some of the videos, like my rucksack was really weighted to one side.
Okay.
And I don't know whether, but I spoke to Dr. Nikki Ligo, who's like very, very, very smart woman. And she helps out quite a lot of the race and she's familiar with this and she's doing a study to try and find out why this happens. And on day 1 and day 2, I had a tracker on my left shoulder that was digging the whole time and I kept like moving to stop this tracker. And she thinks that might have been a trigger, but it also might have been the sheer weight of the pack, the distance you're covering, not eating, not sleeping. So it could have been a variety of factors. It's never happened to me before. And I'm pretty sure I never want it to happen again. It's not a nice experience. Like when the medics were chasing me because they thought I had rhabdo. And I was convinced I'd had a stroke. Like I was looking down at my feet and my feet were just not moving the way that my brain was telling them to go. And I did think I was going to have to DNF with like half a mile to go, because I couldn't get up the hill to go into the town. I was just like in such a bad way. To be fair, like most of it was in the last 8 miles. That's when
when your body was going, your mind was going.
So like when I was going over the Cheviers, I kept having to stop and taking off my pack, and I was lying down in the grass, and just taking the pack off I knew made such a huge difference. So I was trying like to hold it on one shoulder, I was trying to carry the pack on my front, I was trying everything, and it was just like spasms right up my neck. My neck was completely numb. But I think like the last 2 miles on the road before we went into town, that was truly horrific. And I just like now, and I see the video and I can't watch that. I can't look at myself that bad.
Yeah.
But you know, still smiling.
But to us, you're a hero. Like you look at that going, oh my God. But to us, we're like, that is amazing. She's amazing. She looks so cool. I want to look like that too. Yeah. I'm going to pay $1,000 and I'm going to look like that too.
No, it's not how I envisaged finishing it, that's for sure. But the thing is, like when I was running down the hill, in my head I was like, just pull yourself up, and I was.
Got you upright.
Like,
I can Photoshop it. I'll got 30 degrees. I'll put you. I'll adjust the picture.
In my head, that is not what I look like. But yeah, I find it's a hard watch, because I'm just like, I know how much pain I was in at that point. But to still be like so happy, and then when I saw my mum and my brother and sister there, although they're like so super happy and so supportive, and they're always very interested in what I do, it's just like they don't have that much of a grasp of things, you know. And my mum doesn't drive anymore. She kind of lost her confidence with driving, so she finds like she can't really get to races. So my brother had taken her down, so that's why I was like, I've either done really well or I've died. I can't work it out. But
little bit of both.
My mum was like, but you walked straight past me, and then you looked at me, and then you went and sat down, and then you were like, oh my God, my mum's here. I was like, I just didn't register that in that time.
That's totally understandable. Yeah. Would you say that finish, the finish wasn't the style that your normal finish? Would you say that is your pinnacle of your ultra running career so far?
It's definitely right up there. Yeah, it is. It's just and I just like, even now it's kind of,
you did that. I know.
But
we've talked to you for quite a bit, and I'm aware that the time is ticking on, and and Marco's probably like, what's for tea? Chicken starving down here. What when you finished, you've now got not that long a turnaround before doing another massive race.
Yeah.
How does that feel in your bones, and do you feel ready to start training?
I do, because it's something different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
no pack.
Obviously, I've got my place in Badwater, which is not. It wasn't even on my radar at the beginning of the year.
Did you know you were running it before the Spine, or was it like?
No,
that's quite good, isn't it?
It never even crossed my mind. So I wanted to get into Western States this year. And I didn't make it in the draw for the 5th time, which obviously it just gets harder every year. And I did say that if I got into Western States that I wouldn't do the Spine, because the recovery takes too long. Obviously I was really glad I didn't get into Western States. And then I saw that the applications for Badwater were opening, and I just kind of thought, maybe this might be my year. So yeah, you've got to do like an application form. So it's an invitational. So there's only 100 places. So you basically got to, it's like a pitch really. It's like you put in an application form. It's like a CV, and then they select who they want to come along. And then when they were doing their announcements, I watched it on Instagram Live, and they said straight off, right, there was already 50 places taken from people who'd rolled over.
Wow.
Because the internationals who couldn't travel during COVID, so they were like, they only had 50 places to give out. And I was like, I don't know. And then when they were like, and from Glasgow, Scotland.
Wow.
Get that credit card out.
Oh my God. You think the spine is bad? You should try Badwater.
All the new kits. I mean, there is so much to delve into this.
I know.
Are you going to go white? Or are you going to go black?
Well, I don't know. I'm just worried in case you have an accident with white, Eddie.
Oh, Lord, yes.
I mean, come on. I've got to get over the finishing pictures of the spine were like bent over.
Cornwall's not going to go that well in that heat, is it?
Well, yeah, I am worried about that because I don't want, I do think it was a pack. I do think it was the weight.
Oh, yeah. I think you wiped that from your mouth. It's never happened before. It was.
But it is on the back of my mind. So yeah, I'm just gonna like revert and just. Do you know what I did? The Lakeland 100 and the Autumn 100 last year. Before I did the spine. So, to do Lakeland, Autumn 100, the spine, and Badwater in a calendar year, in 12 months. I don't feel like I have to go out and start doing that 100-mile weeks and stuff. I feel like I've got enough in my legs. So I'm just going to do like more yoga, probably do some strength stuff. Really from about April, May onwards, just ramp up and just focus more on heat training rather than just going out and running loads of miles. So
there's going to have to be a whole new trainer choice as well, because presumably it's road training you'll be wearing.
Yeah. So, it's quite exciting. So it's actually quite nice that we're going away and we're going to go to Vegas for 5 or 6 days and then do the race and then going to LA for the rest of the week. So we're actually going away for 2 weeks. So it's quite nice after like not being anywhere for so long to have like a proper holiday and not just a holiday where it's me going to do a race and then we come home. So yeah, it'd be quite nice.
Got loads of Badwater questions.
Yeah, we're going to have to get her back on. I mean, we could do about 6 podcasts.
I mean, you can ask me all the questions you like. I don't know the answers. I'm literally just giving them my money. That's it.
That'd be awesome.
So,
right.
So I'm just like, Eddie sent me a podcast interview. I loved that Sally McRae interview. It was so
good, wasn't it?
She's like my absolute hero.
And she's running it.
Yeah. So, I'm just like, I've bookmarked like loads of podcasts of blogs. I want to know everything. So it's quite nice to have something that you can.
Yeah, because you've been heavy in the spine for a couple of years now. So this is a whole new, fresh, skin frazzling new approach. You couldn't get more different.
I know. It's amazing the amount of people that have told me I need to wear sunscreen.
It's going to have to be a different hairstyle though, Debs. I mean, it's tricky, isn't it?
Give it all on.
Well, this is another podcast, the hairstyle for Badwater. Right, Gaza, you go. Let's go.
Yeah, we've been on an hour. My goodness, thanks for all the time, Debbie.
Thank you, Deb.
So much. It was great to be on. I'm glad you finally asked me. I'm glad we've now got the benchmark of things.
I am kind. For all these other podcasters, I would never ask you the week after a race to come on a podcast. I'd be like, I wouldn't do that to you. You got to go softly, and let it filter a little bit.
Eddie waits till she gets a place in the race and she's like, Debs, come on, chat with me.
No, I did not. I asked you at least an hour before.
You asked me before you got your place. You're right.
But I do blame you, and I'll be cursing your name on night 3 when I'm like, you told me, Debs, you said this would be fun.
I think a lot of people have commented on how happy I looked, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna sign up, and I was like, suckers.
I'm under no illusion how tough that race is.
But remember, we had like really quite favourable conditions for the latter stages of the race this year, so you're gonna have there's got to be
it bad.
Well, do you know what? I think because I did it in the storm year, and so when the weather was looking good, and then they had to cut out that section and bus and taxi people. I was all over that. I was like, I'm embracing all of this.
Just one more question. When you got in that bus or whatever it was did you just fall straight asleep?
No, it's not that far.
Did you not? I was like, oh, were you like really aware that you possibly didn't smell very nice and some poor person was having to drive you?
Yeah, there was a guy who'd done like the hardcore races and stuff, was a taxi driver. I can't remember his name. I think it was Roy or something now, but now I'm just making stuff up. But yeah, we had a good old chat.
Oh, sweet. I'm sleeping. Oh, don't talk to me.
I think most people did choose that opportunity to have a nap, but I just spent the whole time in the hall trying to sleep, and I couldn't because it was like really uncomfortable and really cold.
That must be mega frustrating when you want to sleep, but you just can't. Should you do the quick five?
Yeah, do it, Gaza. Do it.
Okay. First one, rugby or football?
Shit. Nice. I will go
That's
with
a rubbish one, Gary. Why did you want? Oh yes, but you got to go.
It was on the list.
I don't know anything about football. I was raised in a Rangers family and married into a Celtic one, so I stay firmly on the fence. Probably rugby. At least I kind of understand rugby a little more than football. Yeah.
Scotland beat England at the weekend.
Well, that was a seamless little cue in there. That's why I like rugby.
Hollywood Calling. They're going to do your life story. Who is going to play you in the movie?
Oh my God. What's her name? Rebel. What's her face? She's going to play me.
Rebel Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty funny.
And because she's got much more impressive frontal features.
Because we have the same breasts. Sorry, Gary. Right. I think she's brilliant, so she can play me.
She is super funny. Cheesiest song on your playlist?
Cheesiest song? Oh my God, if anything were to happen to me, me and my sister were packed, just delete Apple Music. Cheesiest song? Oh, like there's too many to...
Yeah, is there one that isn't?
I don't know. No, I think they're all pretty cheesy, to be honest.
It's a lot of Taylor. Anyone else apart from Taylor? Who else?
Amy McDonald, but that's not cheesy.
Oh, Amy McDonald as well.
Yeah.
I've never heard Amy McDonald. Who's Amy McDonald?
What?
I don't know who she is.
She's from Glasgow. She's brilliant.
She's from Scotland.
Okay.
I'll send you some.
Yeah.
You're okay, don't worry.
I'm going to send you an Amy McDonald song that you have to listen to tonight, Garen.
Okay. Favourite pancake topping?
Oh, God, I don't even like pancakes.
What?
Well, I think last year after I did the spine, there's like a new pancake place that's open in Glasgow, and it's kind of, I can't remember, it's like one of these like really swanky pancake places, and we went there and I was like ordered everything and I couldn't really eat it. There's just that weird kind of, I don't know, pancakes are not.
What about like maybe toast?
Like chocolate and banana toast. I'm all in with toast.
Okay, what would you put in your
Anything on toast. I love beans on toast. I love avocado and chili on toast. I like banana and peanut butter on toast. Like, yeah.
I'd just eat toast for every meal. If I wasn't married to Bryn, I'd just be like, I'm just having toast in three different ways during the day.
You can literally have toast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Banana and peanut butter.
Bad.
I've never known anything transform something for such a positive effect as banana on a peanut butter slice of bread or toast. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful.
It's probably the best big combo there is in the world.
I wonder how many calories in a jar of peanut butter.
Ooh.
Could take that with me.
But like,
eat it.
Our recycling bin is just full of jars of peanut butter. Which just
I've seen you with jars of peanut butter.
I like it with the salt. I do prefer the like a nutty peanut butter with salt.
It's got to be chunky, but I don't even like all these fancy whole food ones. I just like the supermarket home brand chunky peanut butter. That's got the sugar and the salt in it. I mean,
sums you up, Deb. The Sunpat. You're the Sunpat girl.
Yeah, that's the one.
Sunpat sometimes, I don't know, it's not even... Yeah, I would take Sunpat over a fancy whole food stuff. You need to have the sugar in it, right?
No.
We add the extra sugar. I think Finley does. It's just like, Mum, this isn't sugary enough.
Well, it's actually it is. If you do get the whole food ones, it is actually quite a good food. It's just pretty much it is nuts. There's nothing else.
Yeah, but it's just not. It tastes as good, Gary.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just looking for the goodness.
What are you watching on Netflix or any streaming service?
Do you know what we started watching last night? The Tinder Swindler. You need to watch it.
No, I've not heard of this
one. Did Marco
either.
watch this?
Yeah, it's actually a documentary about some woman who meets some guy on. It's like a proper real life story.
This is that date. That's like Tinder is this.
Don't pretend you don't know, Gary.
I do know, but it's not a date. It's not a dating app, is it?
It's just right on you.
It's not. Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just come out on Netflix, and it's a documentary. Oh my goodness, it's quite. I was like last night. I was like, I need to go to bed because it's 10:15 and I'm dying. But I could have easily just watched the rest of it. It was quite compelling viewing. I have also just watched the last episode of The Afterlife.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it, Debs. No.
My wife won't let me watch it. She says, well,
no, Gary, you can't. You're far too sensitive. You'll never get over it.
It's like, I love Ricky Gervais. I think he's absolutely hilarious. But like, you just go from like major highs to like crashing lows just watching it because. But yeah, I would highly recommend The Tinder Swindler.
And that's Netflix, is it?
It's on Netflix. It's like one of their top 10 ones, and it's just it's like a documentary and this like con man type thing. But honestly, it's just like, it's one of those ones like, did you ever watch that Don't Fuck with Cats?
No.
Oh, you need to watch that. But it was like this documentary, just like close arms and legs, and you're just like, whoa, what's happening now? And it's a real life story.
Excellent.
Right,
I'm gonna watch it. If it's traumatizing, I'm gonna go.
Oh no, you're gonna have to watch it. And then when I was on the treadmill on Thursday night, because there's another good watch. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram called Jeff Binley, I think his name is. But he's like a guy who's like overweight ultra runner and like transformed his life. But he's like, he does all these dances and stuff. He's just like really, really funny. And then I was like flicking on Prime one day and he has a documentary out and I watched that. And he's like a comedian who just like changed his life. But it was like, you laugh and you cry. It's called Once Is Enough. You should definitely watch that as well. Really good viewing.
I like anything I can watch on the
got some good Netflix tips here. It's on Amazon.
She's done earlier. Debs, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. We have loved having you on. We loved tracking you on the spine. We're so proud of you. Well done, and best of luck with the bad water. Well, with the recovery first. Enjoy another month or so recovery. You're such a hero. You're such a hero to the nation watching you complete that race. So proud of you, and enjoy your recovery. And we look forward to another podcast, hopefully, about bad water. You winning bad water. Put it out there.
Let's not forget, I'm from Glasgow. I'm ginger.
Don't make excuses. I'm not having any of it. I'm not having any of that.
I'm bagging already.
Enjoy your recovery. We'll speak soon.
Thank you. It's really nice to talk to you both. Take care.
Bye. Bye. Oh, what a guest, Eddie. What a story. And I really, to hear her recall that she really didn't like the images of herself at the end when she could see how much she was struggling. It's quite emotional, actually. And to keep moving forward with all that going on, I thought showed amazing resilience. And she's not content with 268 miles in freezing, cold, wet conditions. She's now going to go and do 135 miles in roasting hot, the bad water, 135.
Which one would you do, Gary? Spine or bad water?
I think I'd probably bad water. I don't do well with cold at all. No. Really. My Raynaud's, I'd be 10 mile in and I'd have Raynaud's, and then that'll be like a week of Raynaud's. That would not be.
How much money am I going to spend trying out different variations of sealskin gloves? I mean, the good thing is that they'll be worn because I wear gloves for 6 months of the year here. So at least, or I'll just palm them off on kids.
You need to start hitting some brands already. All the content they're going to have for a year. But yeah, great guest. Thanks for giving up your time, Debs. We had a great chat last night. So yeah, thanks for that. Hope you enjoyed it. Upcoming races, Eddie. Another busy weekend. This one's looked really good. It's a long distance walking event. The Winter Poppy Line, 50 miles, 22 hours. It's on undulating countryside in North Norfolk. And it does state previous experience of night navigation will be advantageous. So
I would not sure. I think I'd prefer to navigate on the Pennine Way than to do an LDW of a navigation in the dark with their instructions.
Poem or something tied onto a fence. I've never. North Norfolk is somewhere I don't think I've ever been. So I love going to new places. I think that would be awesome, and it wouldn't break the bank apart from the journey and accommodation. So yeah, good luck, everybody.
We've also got the last one standing, Four Nations Trophy, over in Northern Ireland at Castle Ward this weekend. There's loads of I saw Ian Keith's names on the starting list. Not sure that he'll be. Maybe he will.
My goodness,
Debs
is running again. So
yeah, well, it's a bit long. We kind of think, I don't know why, because she said, yeah, it's almost a month. It feels like it was only yesterday, but I'm not sure I'd be ready to toe a start line. I think Debs would say that too. But good luck if you're heading over there representing one of the nations. That'll be exciting to follow. Hopefully the weather will be kind to you.
Fingers crossed. Good luck, everyone. Coming up, Eddie, what's on the cards?
Big week this week. Head down, focus. I've got quite a lot on my plate, quite a lot of work to do, quite a lot of training. But I love it like that. And we've had a fresh dump of snow. So I started the week strong, straight up. We recorded, didn't we? We were podcasting, and I was all ready to go. As soon as we finished, I was straight up out the door on the skis, get some meters in, and then I've got ticked off my hill session already this week. Do you do this? I preload the week of all the sessions I love doing, and then it gets to the end of the week and I've got to still got to do that one. So I'm going to try and hit a 20-hour week this week because, as I said, then I'll be a bit more taxed under the
that gym and everything, and skiing and bikes. That whole shebang.
So I try and do 3 hours gym. I try and do 5,000 meters on my skis. I try and do my 2 key running sessions, and then all the rest is like steady running, biking, and the gym. I'm just loving the strength. I'm feeling such a difference. Though I did do, as I said to Brody, one of his step up things the other day, and my butt was the sorest it's been for a long time. But now I'm thinking, I'll be as strong as I can be, Gary. Got to be as strong. There can't be a weak muscle in my body. Hopefully ticking off another good week. Hopefully no ill children, and I could just have a few days at home without. But mummy. What about you? Oh, do I need to ask?
Well, there's no 200s, but we're going to finishing off, I think, this speed block with your 12 400s. So that should be quite good. And then also my other quality session. There's 2 things. I've either got this other quality session, which is 2 times 4 minutes, then 3 times 3 minutes, and then 4 times 2 minutes. I can't remember what the recovery is with that. Or there's a cross country on Saturday. Not too sure. We'll just see how the week pans out. But I still would like to get 2 quality sessions, and one of those might be the race. Pretty sure I'm off the lakes. Also doing don't want to give it away, but I'm doing a Bob Graham round leg 4 refresher. So I'm hopefully going to be helping somebody on their Bob Graham round attempt coming up soon.
Is someone that's on the show by any chance?
Maybe. I'm not saying anything. They've not advertised it, so I'm not saying any more than that.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
No. So yeah, although I'm quite familiar with leg 4, and I'm hoping my commitment for the day is leg 4 and leg 5. So I've got a big.
Oh, nice. That makes it worth you going up there as well.
Yeah. So if we do go up this during the week, it will be kind of park at Honister and then run over to Wasdale, which is about 5-6 mile. If you do the passes and not the big summits, it's not a bad run in, and then you just jump on leg 4 basically and come back to Honister. So that is the plan. Fingers crossed. It all depends on my friend's work pattern and shifts, if you can get time off. But yeah, I'd really like to do that. And I think nothing other than that. Yeah, a few more stressful Netflix programs to give me anxiety. If anyone's out there watching Ozark, goodness me, we just watched Lisa and I were sitting there like just holding our heads, like really.
Is it so violent?
There was a really disturbing scene. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It is violent, and it's not. Sometimes when we watch Fargo, and Fargo is quite funny and dark, but then there is real violence in it. There's no funny in Ozark. It's
how do you watch it?
Well, somebody said it was good, and it is really gripping. But this was the season, only season one. I think they're on season 4 now. We're well behind. But we wondered why it was really stressful, and it was the finale, and that's why when it finished.
I hate that with Netflix when you like binge watch and you don't realize you're watching like the last one, and then you're like waiting for the next one. Like, is that it? That's it. There's no other series. And then some of them, like, did you ever watch 24? What was it called? Not 24. Designated Survivor. Did you ever watch that?
I've seen that one.
It was really good. And they blew up the whole of the American Parliament apart from one guy. So he was made president, and it was so good.
Oh, all right.
And then they just stopped making it. It's like, you can't do that.
That's quite frustrating.
That's half a story.
But I'm not too sure if I've got the emotional capacity to watch.
You've mentioned it quite a few times in the last hour, so I'd say maybe Disney Plus channel for you tonight, Gary.
You never guess what, Eddie?
Stop it. What?
You won't believe it. 2 5-star reviews, and we're not going to read them both out this week because that would just be too gratuitous. But yeah, I'm going to read it, or should I?
You read it. You.
Just bask in it. Bask in the review. W2W Rich on the 31st of the 1st, 2022. Left a 5-star review over on Apple Podcast. Great double session. I really enjoyed episode 73 and 74 featuring Russell Bentley, which was a really insightful and motivational podcast in the very relaxed style, which I really enjoy. Russ was so relaxed and inspiring, and at one point I could visualize the scene above. Oh, I can't pronounce that.
Now?
Yeah, as he struggled to battle on for those last 10 miles. Great production. Pat on the back, Gary. Keep up the great sessions and motivational guests. Oh, my goodness. If I knew your real name, I would thank you by your real name. But whoever you are...
I've seen a few comments like of our relaxed style. Is that like in a report where you'd be like, they try their best because, you know, we sort of like maybe don't script this as much as we should? Or is it that people actually just enjoy?
I'm taking the positives, Eddie.
Okay, let's take the positives.
Natural. But yeah, it's really awesome. I love 5-star reviews.
You might know people are listening. Otherwise, you're just chatting to each other on Zoom each week.
But yeah, thanks a lot. That was great. That was episode 76. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the 5-star reviews. And thanks again to Chia Charge for sponsoring the show.
Can I tell you a quick funny story? I know we're meant to be finishing. So I was here by myself at the weekend and I could hear this. I'm going to do the sound effects from our back room where we store all the skis and stuff.
That mice again, is this?
Okay. I was like, what the hell is that? It was proper. It was a noise that was something. Okay. I was like, there's no ghost that's going to be rustling a paper. So I crept out. We have this big curtain across to keep the warmth in, and looked round. And a mouse was pulling a Chia Charge wrapper across the floor.
Was it the big ones as well? Like the...
No, it was one of those little banana ones. So I was like, you little, and it like looked up at me and went, oh, God. And away. I was like,
you should have filmed it. That would have been great.
Have you eaten that? My heart was like, because I was honestly like, what? There's someone out there. Oh my God, there's someone out there. This is it. I'm going to reach my destiny with a mass murderer eating a Chia Charge bar. It was the fact it was like going backwards, pulling this Chia Charge. I was like, if you've eaten all that, you're going to be nuts. You're going to be like high as a kite.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it since. It's gone out into the wild going, oh my God. Anyway, that's a funny story. Yeah, I wish I had filmed it, but I was too freaked out.
That's cool. Who am I? Oh, yeah. And I'm Gary Thwaites.
I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.